All right. So, I welcome all of you. Today, I have chosen some topics for our discussion, which is about the economics of the upcoming main exam. You know, and some of you who are going for the main should find them quite relevant. Even otherwise, those freshers for the prelim exam, which is next year, that should be these topics should be useful. Now, as I have told you, I have chosen certain issues which are absolutely current and they're of general importance. These cooperatives, the government is giving it so much importance, multi-state, we'll talk of that. And then in the Indian economy today, the statistics are not in proper shape. The quality is very poor. So much so, some surveys had to be set aside altogether because of lack of quality. Even the government is criticizing. They set up a committee under Pranab Singh. Then the economy is growing, but the growth is driven by investment by the government. Consumption is not encouraging. Why? What's going on? Fourth is share buyback. L&T 10,000 crores. Last year, TCS spent about 18,000 crores of rupees on buyback. So what's this buyback? Why and why not? We'll talk of that. Then we will also talk about certificate of deposit. Banks are resorting to raising of capital through certificate of deposit, CD, not by raising the interest rates for fixed deposits. Why? We'll talk of CD and why the banks are doing what they are doing, like I've told you. We'll handle that also. And then, multi-state cooperatives, quality of data, CD, and then consumption versus investment, share buyback. And what's the sixth one? The sixth one is civil servants who are in the All India services, IAS, PS, and OFS. These are All India services, and new rules have come that they'll get fully paid, not fully paid leave for 730 days in their career span. Paid leave so that they could take care of their children who are up to the age of 18 years. We'll talk of that also because that is quite important. After all, you have a life, you have a family, you have to take care of your children, educate them, take care of their health, motivate them, give them good company, quality time. They shouldn't feel that state is more important to them than family and all that. So, good balance. We'll come to that. Now, our beginning is with the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act. See, India, we have cooperatives. They are a sui generis, indigenous institution where people come together, float a body for a variety of purposes from banks to consumer and producer and so on. Basically, it is a democratic enterprise, number one, state support, number two, and it's not commercial like the commercial bodies are, number three, and so on. So we promote. And if the cooperative is confined to one state, it is a state cooperative. The state has the power to facilitate and regulate under entry number 32. Entry 32, state list. If it is a multi-state cooperative, 44 union list. After all, Amul cannot be regulated by Gujarat only, it operates across the country. So, a cooperative that operates in more than one state has to be regulated by rules and regulations laid down by the government of India. So, in 2002, the latest that we know, there was this act according to which rules are laid down, who can form, how to register, what are the preconditions, what are the obligations. Government also can set up a cooperative. You must have seen the news that the government, central government that is, multi-state, set up three cooperatives. One for production of seeds, another for agricultural, exports. Third one is for organic produce agriculture. Three multi-state cooperatives, big bodies. They're going to show results in future. So, okay, multi-state cooperatives, we know what they are. But what is this law about? The law of 2022, Multi-State Cooperatives Amendment Act. Amend what? Amend how? Amend this. This stands amended. Lok Sabha passed the bill. It's a matter of time before the Rajya Sabha passes, and it will go to the president, and the president will say okay, and it will come into effect. Now, what are the 5 changes, essential 5 changes brought in by this amendment? Number 1, there is the election authority. Election authority. Why? To hold elections for the directors and others. Cooperative means the general body. General body means all the members. And cooperative is different from the commercial bodies like corporates because it is democratic in its functioning. So you elect your directors. And to conduct that democratically, remember this Part 9b brought in by the 97th Constitution Amendment Act in 2011. It says how the cooperative should be run. 2 years back, Supreme Court in the Rajesh Shah verdict struck down the 97th Amendment Act. But this part applies to the multi-state cooperatives. It doesn't apply to the state cooperatives because that is in the state list and the union government didn't get the amendment bill ratified by half the state legislatures. 5 changes. Election authority to oversee the conduct of elections for the post of the directors. That's okay. That is good. 2 is, redemption. I'll come to this. Redemption. 3 is amalgamation. 4th is ombudsman. 5th is concurrent audit. Concurrent audit. All this will be there in the PDF that you will get in our Telegram group. They're all put up in our Telegram group. Go there. You will find pretty relevant material. See, election authority, I told you. Redemption of shares. There is this cooperative. In that cooperative, it does business and there is ownership of it. The ownership is by the shares that institutions and individuals hold. Central government also. Central government. State government. And this much is owned by the center. This is owned by the states. Let's say 100 shares, center owns 10, states own 10. 80 are owned by institutions, individuals, and whoever else. Now, I am running a cooperative and there are 100 shares. Center put its money, states put their money. 10 each. I'm in difficulty. I'm in a crisis. I need money. So what I used to do before this law, I can sell ask my shareholders if they are okay, sell my central government, state government shares, get the money and keep going. But now this law says, the new bill says that you can't do that unless we permit you. That's because they want to have control, number one, and they also, that's government money, and how could you sell and encash it? So redemption is selling. You can't do that. So you can do it provided the central government and the state government authorize it. That's okay. That's okay. I have no problem with that at all. The problem arises with amalgamation. We are a state cooperative and a certain number of our general body members, they say let's merge with a multi-state cooperative. At this rate, state cooperatives keep on merging with the multi-state cooperative societies. There will be centralization. There will be no autonomy for the state. This is a problematic reform they are doing. The government says scale and national standards and it's cooperative. It is the cooperative after all. So state or center both are cooperatives. But then states are worried that there will be more and more state cooperative societies amalgamating with the existing multi-state cooperative society. That means states are going to lose their cooperatives' power. That's a very justified worry. Ombudsman. Cooperatives deal with people and people may have grievances and these grievances have to be reported to somebody. So, ombudsman. Pretty good. Accountability. Here this is democracy. This is accountability. And this is the government wants to have control, let them have control. Concurrent audit. See, you're a small cooperative. It's okay, once in 1 year we'll audit you. You're a big cooperative dealing with lots and lots of money and you should not go bankrupt. If you do, lakhs of people will be the victims and therefore continuous financial audit will be done and that is called concurrent audit. These are the 5 reforms of which, as I have told you, 2 are they are raising concerns. One is amalgamation, the other one is amalgamation and amalgamation is one concern and the other concern, amalgamation is a primary concern that leads to centralization and that is a primary concern which is centralization. Concurrent audit welcome, ombudsman welcome, redemption controls welcome, election authority pretty welcome. So this is the set of provisions brought in by the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Amendment Act 2022. This is, I get the feeling that it's important. Important in general, it's very important. And that's why we have discussed. I'll come back and show them to you about, I've got this huge FAQ. Now, so let's switch our attention to statistics. Remember, in the 1930s, when American economy sank, in those days you didn't even have the concept of GDP. Simon Kuznets told the American president, sir, let's know where we are, how bad or good we are. From there we know where to go. For that, we need to know where we are And based on that, we can make the reforms in policies so that we achieve our goals. So, sir, let's count the product. So, statistics, that is how it began. Census has always been there, 1861, the decennial census, but I'm talking about strictly economic statistics. And statistics have such crucial value for public policy. After all, why does the government exist? It exists for our security and our welfare. Poverty. Today in India, still there are people who are not extremely poor, maybe, but they are poor. And why are they? How many are poor? Why are they poor? What is this growth of economy? Which sector is growing? Luxury cars, premium cars are growing. They're paying GST, contributing to economic growth and global image. But that's not relevant for a country like India, where we have labor surplus, the nature of our economy. So, you need numbers, statistics to find out where we are so that we know how to go where we are going, number one. How food secure we are depends upon how much food we are producing. For that, you need agricultural statistics. Employment statistics you require so that you can productively deploy the young people of the country so that the country's economy, society can gallop. You require inflation data after all. You need to know where the prices are, what people are consuming. You need to know industrial statistics, manufacturing statistics, poverty, employment, inflation, growth, population, health, all these women, children, maternal mortality, infant mortality, all this you require, lifestyle diseases and whatnot. Without these statistics, we do not have, the wherewithal to develop the country. So that's as crucial as it is. Mahalanobis, we all know Mahalanobis. PCM. Mahalanobis. He was in the 50s, Mahalanobis model, that closed economy, capital goods, etc. For Atmanirbhar. Close the economy and do Atmanirbhar. Unlike today, open the economy and be Atmanirbhar. Two are different. So Mahalanobis and V.K.R.V. Rao also was associated with it. Later, Rangarajan is also a great contributor to nature, quality, and the institutions of statistics in the country. In India, we have Central Statistical Office. We got National Sample Survey Office. Both of them operate under National Statistical Office. And that operates under MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And CSO, what does it do? NSO, you call it NSO now. NSO, what does it do? GDP numbers, industrial production, your rural inflation, urban inflation that is combined. That's what is done by the NSO. NSSO is not active today. They used to be the ones to collect data about consumption expenditures so that the country knows how many people are consuming above the poverty and not able to consume above the consumption expenditure. You spend so much of money on consumption, essentially food, non-food, but basically we are a food because that's connected to poverty. So yes, they're all there at state level. You got the Directorate of Statistics and Economics. Economic information, that is the data. Statistics. That's at the state level. They do what they do. Collected. Not only this is MOSPI. Agriculture, health, water. Those ministries have their own statistical divisions. They go around collecting data. National Family Health Survey. agricultural production statistics, land survey, who holds how much. All these, they have their own divisions, and some ministries are there, they got a nucleus, that is a small group that is tasked with collecting data. So we got a jungle here, and we need to consolidate. And you know the data about the labor, rural and urban labor is collected by labor. You know, there is this Labor Bureau, National Labor Bureau, that's in Shimla, headquarters. And they get to the data about the inflation, rural inflation, and all this industrial workers, that inflation, etc. So it's all pretty scattered, and you need to unify. That's another challenge. This challenge is not the same, it is different. Quality of data. Quality of data. There is a Pranab committee set up. It is called the Standing Committee on Statistics. Pranab Sen is accomplished, sort of experienced, a man of national statistics, comparable to greats like Rangarajan and others. Actually, if you go to our website, Sriram has taken an interview with him during COVID times about the whole thing of statistics, census, and all that. A class. So this committee will scrutinize, review the framework for collection of statistics and reviews. After all, you find out about the labor force participation rate of women, which is what? 100 women are there. In that, how many are either employed or looking for work? You go to a house, you come across a woman, ask her, are you employed? No. Are you looking for work? No. So automatically we will say she's outside labor force participation by women. But the fact is they are running a family enterprise which centers around her. She gives her life for that. She works more than anyone else. But she's being recorded as neither looking for work nor employed. So, such discrepancies do injustice to our planning and development model. Crop statistics, incomplete. And you know how many surveys are there to tell you how many poor people are there? They don't match. They don't match at all. Different surveys, divergent numbers. So, inconsistent data. Crop statistics, incomplete data. About women, biased data. You know what's the base year of your national income series? 201112. You know the base year for your retail inflation? 1112. We are consuming quite a few things which we were not consuming at that time. How much of food we are consuming, how much of electronic gadgets or house rent or fuel. So the basket is changing, but the collection and the quality of statistics is not changing. So you have urban inflation, you have rural inflation, but the urban-rural breakup is 2011 census, 11 census. It's been 12 years since then, and the urban area is expanding. So when you average out the combined inflation, rural and urban, with the new urban-rural breakup, you get your numbers wrong. So about food security, you get your numbers wrong because your statistics are agricultural crop statistics are incomplete, biased, incomplete, outdated, inconsistent. These are all the problems with our data system. And you want to be 5 trillion, you want to be a developed country 47, you have to get your act right. And so, better late than never. Pranab Sen committee is there, they'll make the repair, they'll reform, they'll suggest the reform, and it'll be a high quality reform, and based on that, you're going to ensure that good quality statistics are collected for the apt public policy. The consumption data, how much consumption expenditure? What is the consumption expenditure of the people in the country? It's 11, 12, the most latest statistics we have. The one conducted in 1718 by got junked. Why? The government says the quality is not reliable. They conducted it. So we don't know what is the level of consumption. And consumption is the lifeline of the economy. We all work for consumption. Investment comes after consumption. Consumption is a lot of our life. And so, if you don't have the data, you don't know how many people are poor. You have indirect from the size of the economy and the rate of growth, and you have indirect from National Family Health Survey. But head on statistics for this we don't have, and that is highly, highly avoidable, because it's not that we are the only country which is beset with these problems. No, all over the world these statistics are plagued by problems I have just now described. All over the world, everywhere. So there is this new panel. I'll come back and show you what's a Chintan Shivir. The government conducted a Chintan Shivir. All the top level officials, they were all brought into a place for 2 days and brainstorm about, they know everything. They're waiting for a signal from the government to, improve. And the government gave the signal. Now, brainstorming has taken place about, the quality problem, about the formulation of the sample, about the conduct of the collection. I've read an article by a major expert today in the Times of India. She says we are historically lagging. These are the days of, in a private sector company, how do you collect the data? You collect the data. Text is there, WhatsApp is there, web is there, phone is there, in person is there. Are we using all that? We have to institutionalize it. We are using all that. Our census has been put off indefinitely, and census is a gold mine for government and private sector to plan their economic development, social development, and all that. We don't know how many people have TV sets or bicycles, or we don't have those data. We need to have the data for your public policy, and that is where this committee becomes relevant. Chintan Shivir. Oh, this is, oh, yes, it's relevant for everyone, not just for the exam, but everyday relevance also we have. All of us know how to estimate the GDP. You have product, you have income, you have expenditure. These are the three methods for estimating. Don't say calculate, say estimate, because the data is inadequate, your projections are inadequate. Therefore, where you are not entirely sure of the number, you call it estimate. So estimates, expenditure. Now, expenditure, we all know the formula. Consumption, investment, government expenditure plus net exports. That is, you exported 10, you imported 12, your net exports would be minus. So now, or if you exported 20, you imported 15, you have that, merchandise surplus, then you've got a net export plus 5. Consumption, as I told you, consumption drives your economy about 55 to 58% of consumption. All around me, there is water here. There's a phone here, there's a laptop here, there's a perfume here, there are pens here, a pen holder here, there's light there, there's a fan here, there's an AC here. Step out of the room, there's food. All this is consumption. I've come here in a cab, and that's consumption. The rent I'm paying is consumption. 50 for food, clothes. footwear. All this is consumption. Every country, a lot of countries, consumption matters 55 to 60%, 58%. And that's not improving. See, what have you studied in the macro books through your education? You studied that investment driven growth is good, consumption driven growth is only short term. So, what do you mean by that? What you mean is, the government can help me to have a little more fish. How? Subsidize it. Government can help me to buy a laptop, subsidize it. Government can help me even more by reducing the interest rate so that I can take a loan and buy some. Today I want to, PVR and all that. It's going to cost me a bit. If I could take a loan, this credit card, whatever. Interest rates are low, and then, so consumption is boosted by subsidies, consumption is boosted by interest rates. But it's not going to last too long because the rates are going to go up when we all borrow and inflate the economy. Rates have to go up to tame our consumption. And the government, how long will they subsidize? They can't go on forever. They have to borrow money and subsidize, and there's a limit to that. So that is why consumption-driven growth is short-lived. Whereas investment-driven, you invest, you produce, you employ, and then incomes and consumption, demand. So it is an all-round virtuous cycle propelling the economy. And that's good. And the government just watches the show without tinkering with it because the private sector, entrepreneurs are taking the vehicle forward. That is a classical macroeconomic scenario of investment-led versus consumption. But we are, see, surge in investments. We are investment-led, but this is not what the macro book told you. This is investment by government. It is stimulus investment. It is investment in a crisis where private sector is not investing adequately, and so the government has to take it on its shoulders. Borrow money, invest. Borrow money, lend it to the states. Let the states also invest. So Government of India, this budget is 10 lakh crores of capex. And 3.7 lakh crores given to the states as grants and aid for all the rural roads and hospitals and schools and irrigation dams and all that. So, this is important. I think this is exam driven also. Effective capital. The government of India should not say we are spending 10 through the budget on the infrastructure, capex. We are spending 13.7. 3.7 is a grant and aid. We are grant to the states, and that and this added together, you get the number 13.7 lakh crores of rupees. Yeah, effective capital expenditure. Why is the government investing? Should the government invest? Yeah, government should invest. Where? Hospitals, schools, primary education, etc. But the heavy lifting in investment is the responsibility in a growing economy of the private sector. But the private sector has not been robust in its investment because, see, in India, consumption has slowed. Consumption is weak. Why? Inflation is there. Tomato, after consuming tomato, you have no money for anything else. You only consume in your dream. Wake up, it's a nightmare. So this tomato inflation has left me with no money for either a pen or a glass of water, nothing. Inflation has taken away the money for consumption of everything else, number one. You want to borrow money and consume? Rates are so high. Non-stop rate hike for 1 year. Point number 2. Point number 3, in the K-shaped growth, the informal economy hasn't come back yet. And so incomes have not risen, point number 3. And with all this, the consumer is not so confident. RBI Consumer Confidence Service is showing that consumer is not confident to go out and buy because he needs the money, precautionary, etc., etc. So these are the reasons why the consumption is low. Go to agriculture, incomes haven't risen. Non-farm employment in rural area, they have not risen. So yes, inflation, interest rates, informal economy, and altogether adding up to consumer confidence being, low, according to the RBI survey. That is why consumption is low. When consumption is low, investment will be low. Investment of the private consumption, demand, investment. Investment doesn't take place. Where is employment? Where is wage growth? Nothing. So we are in a down cycle. Corporates are growing like never before. They're slowing a bit. So that is why your GST is 1.5 lakh crores of rupees on a monthly basis. Another reason is people are hit by the fact that exports are not able to grow. Exports means what? You make the goods and services in the country and export. Then you can't make so much because of global stagnation. You won't be able to keep your factories running at an optimal level, and that also catches up, but that also impacts on consumption. This government's capex, effective capital expenditure, has a multiplier effect. Private sector gets dragged in, there's a crowd-in effect, and so there is private sector investment, etc., etc. But that is only residuary. The robust part of the investment should be from the private sector, and that is yet to reach its peak. We are, in a state of we're on the verge of achieving it, but as of now, it has not. Sort of green shoots are there, but I want full trees, and that has not happened. So that is why you say India's consumption-driven economy today. We are neither consumption nor investment. The investment by the government is that stimulus investment, Keynesian investment, the investment for crowding in. It's not a natural growth-driven private sector investment. Yes? So that is how you need to see this. I have given you the picture as it is, but we need to be optimistic. The capex is working, corporates are doing well, incomes are rising, unemployment is falling, and so on and so forth. You give it a fairly sort of rosy picture because, after all, it's not right if we go on. So you got some numbers here. Latest numbers will come. Numbers will come in August. Some number will come. So the first quarter has come. The second quarter will take some time. So this is about consumption investment part of it. I've got, I've made PDFs for you so that aram se you can sit down and study. It's all there in your mind. You can write the finest. But then, I like this. This I liked. See, banks are there. How do they get their money? They get their money, they can, primarily driven by deposits. Deposits are your CASA, current account, savings account, that is the, demand liability. And then fixed deposits are your time liability. Together they account for a lot of money. And short of money, float shares and raise money. Still short? Borrow. Yes, you could do all that because you need money to, give credit. So you do that. And one of the ways of raising deposit is not just CASA or FD, there is this CD also. Current account, certificate of deposit. So there is a bank. I've got 100 rupees. I would like to put it as a deposit in a commercial bank. Commercial banks are there, SBI, RRB, Small finance bank, not Paytm. I mean that payments bank, because payments bank are forbidden from raising money. Each person can put there only 2 lakhs. But this is minimum 5 lakhs. So payments banks are out. NBFCs are out because NBFCs can't accept a deposit for a maturity of less than 1 year, whereas certificate of deposit, the outer limit for the maturity is 1 year, 7 days to 1 year. I'll come back about the CD. Let me introduce the. So I'm a bank. I'll float a certificate of deposit. You got 100 rupees, give me. I'll give you a little more interest rate. Then you say, sir, I can put the money in the FD. I'll get a decent amount of money. Okay, come, give it to me. Take this, buy this CD of mine. I'll give you a little bit more. Why will I give you a little bit more? Because you'll run away to the FD. Why will you run away to the FD? Because in the FD there is some tax concession. You don't have to, you give me you buy my CD, 100 rupees. Interest is 808. You have to pay tax on that 8. In the FD, what you get, there are some tax concessions. So you would like to go to FD, but I want to stop you from going to the FD because I need the money immediately. Therefore, I'll pay you a little more of interest and take your money and sell you a CD. Because FD will be 5 years. I don't want to be stuck with you for 5 years. Why? For all these 5 years, I have to pay you a high rate of interest if it is a fixed interest FD. Whereas I'm expecting the interest rates to come down, maybe, Jan, I think they are going to come down. I think so. Why should I give you 6 when I could give you 5? So I am, not accepting FDs because, number one, they're for a long period. At the moment, I don't want. And I have to give you a rate of interest that will reduce in future according to my expectation. My means finance sector. So, for this reason, I would like to sell at any rate. Multiple channels of raising money is very important. They suit multiple purposes. FD, X purpose, long-term money. I could even lend it for infrastructure. CASA, I can take it for my running expenses. Equity is equity. Debt is also long-term. CD, 7 days also it is possible. Decent money, 5 lakhs is the minimum multiples, any amount. So banks have multiple instruments. One of them is CD, sell it and get the money. What's the CD after all? You know a little bit. But then the first line that any, the examiner, the professor would like to see is, it's a short-term money market instrument, number 1. Debt instrument, that is number 2. It is issued by commercial banks, all this. Commercial banks, scheduled commercial bank. Almost all the commercial banks are scheduled. Regional rural banks, small finance banks, they're all authorized by the RBI to issue. Not less than 7 days, not more than a year. Year means 364 days. Year means it'll be capital market. 364, you could say 1 year. Less than 1 year, more than 7 days. And NBFCs can't issue, payments ban, all that. And so you issue it, short-term money market instrument, because you have many purposes for short-term money. It carries an interest rate which is higher than the FD, for the reason I told you. And that is how banks raise it. Now 5 lakhs is the minimum and multiples of it. Transfer is very important. Yeah, you can transfer it. It's my CD. 100 rupees CD. Interest is 6. 106. 106 I'll come back and explain. So 106. I'll sell you. The rates are going up. You buy it for 107. Rates are going down. I have to sell it in distress 105. So whatever the market rate, the yield, it's called the yield. So I will transfer it to you. Transfer your name. Transfer means selling. Can you put this as a collateral to raise loan? No, you can't. Because if you transfer it, and if that's not, the papers are not clear, here is your CD. On one side, you transferred it. On another, you're going to the bank to keep it as a collateral to raise a loan. How could you do that? For 100 rupees, you're doing business of 100 and, 200. So you can't raise a loan. No. Of a loan, no. You can't. On a CD, you can't. Because you might have transferred it. And then transferable, of course. And issued in terms of, this I have to explain to you. See this. So the CD is worth 100 rupees. And the rate that we negotiated, 6%. So you take out your calculator, there will be a calculator for that. It is called discount to the face value. 100 rupees is the face value, the CD. Discount to the face value. So less than 100, less than 100. Yes. You know, you don't have to give me 100 for a CD worth 100 face value. Nominal value is 100. You don't have to give me 100. You give me so much that 6% interest on that will fetch me 100. If I have to teach a 3-year-old kid, I will say give me 94, come after 1 year, whatever the time. And if you come after 1 year, add 6 to that, 100. But that's not a finance professional. That's not how he works. 6% on 94 will not be 6. The rate of interest is 6. On 94, 6% will be less than 100. So you work out what is the money you will give me against which 6% of interest I have to give you end of the year, assuming it's for 1 year, so that it becomes 100. So, see, I've written here. How much less depends upon the interest rate negotiated. You know, in your prelim exam, the examiner is using the word discount rate, coupon rate and all that. They're all the same. Coupon, discount, interest, they're all the same. So 100 is the value, less than 100, the value on which 6% becomes 100. There could be some formula for that. Or is the 6 on 100 or is the 6 on this? All that can be worked out. The meaning of discounted face value redeemed at par is this, that you will give me less than 100 so that interest income added, it becomes 100 at the time of redemption. That is how it is. And the modality inside can be worked out. Advantage, after all, RBI regulates it, number one. Commercial bank, which is, good rating, number two. Otherwise, don't put your money there. And the rate of interest that it fetches you is pretty decent. This is what you get. And what does the bank get? Money it gets. And it does its business. So that is how you and the bank are in a mutually beneficial relationship. This could be a decent preliminary question. FDs and CD compared. See all this. This is the article that I came across. I've been coming across this article for a while, for a few months. Banks, the rates are too high. They don't. I feel there's also one more point, just between you and I. The money that the banks are raising, without raising interest rates in line with the repo rate hikes, is enough for them to lend for consumption and investment. They don't have to raise the rate. If they raise the rate, they'll get more deposits. They don't know where to lend because the credit offtake is not too good between you and I. Growth rate may be good, but if the for the credit offtake to be good, rates have to be reasonable, they have to be low. At this rate, there won't be so much of credit offtake. And we know it when you see the numbers for consumption and invest. So that's, not a tellable thing, but keep it. So the credit I have to give, the money I have got at this rate of interest is enough. I don't want to attract more deposits by raising the rate. That's the, maybe a little bit of a elephant in the room. So banks prefer this, that. Share buybacks. Interesting story. It came in the prelim twice, in the mains once. If you scroll back to, say, 2000, those days. Because the policy came into the country in 1999 or so, in that period, 98, 99, when the NDA government took over. They passed the share buyback. 99, if I recall, Yashwant Sinha was the finance minister. Now, what is this buyback business? Let me explain. See, there is this company. There is this company also. This company is a privately held company, closely held company, private limited company. This is a public limited. So now, the maximum shareholders are 50. 50 of us floated this company. Maximum 50, you could be 2 or anything, maximum 50. Here, entire country, there is no upper limit at all. What is a public limited company? A company. So this is a public limited company. Here, the entire thing is held by promoters. Yeah, promoters hold this much. Generally, up to 25% you have to sell it to public. You want to sell more, you could. So this is a promoter's shareholding. This is a public shareholding. Promoter has majority, so minority. So you are the promoter, or maybe your friends and family, you're all promoters, and then some shares you will sell to the public. How do you go there? Go to the public? Initial public offering. Sell to the public. How many shareholders are there? Let's say 1 million shareholders are there. How many shares of yours are there with the public? I'm not talking about promoter share. I'll tell you why. Say 100 million shares are there. 100 million shares are there. Now you are a company. You're sitting on cash. You have not borrowed that. Either you made profits and you are sitting on reserves, or you floated shares and you got the equity capital. Either way, you are sitting on share. Tata's TCS, 18,000 crores. I can't believe this number. 18,000 crores of rupees they spent on buying back their own shares. And right now, L&T is in the process of selling buying its own shares from the public, of course. 10,000 crores of rupees. They could have taken up more projects. They could have given dividend. I'll tell you why they are not giving. They are not preferring to give dividend and they are opting to buy back shares. I'll tell you. Let's progress from the basics. So, you are the promoter. This is the public. They got the shares. You're sitting on cash. Blue chip and all that. Profit making company, dividend, all that. Now, share price is rising, but it's not rising to the extent that the shareholders are expecting, and therefore you need to come to their rescue. Share market is doing brilliantly well. But you want to boost the price even more. Why? Where are you without the shareholders? So, you would like to boost the share price. So, you tell them, brothers and sisters, share price is today 100. I know you are disappointed, or I know that you are not the happiest. You could be happy, but I want you to be happier. So, sell me the share for 110. I'll buy this. You sell me, market price is 100, you sell me at 110. I'll buy. Yeah? Why will I buy? So that you guys are rescued and your expectations are met. I can show my credibility as a shareholder friendly company, and that also adds to the quality of perception of my company. So that is point number one. Point number two, you please follow me. Number one, I'm giving you more than the market price. Two more points are there which are of terrific value here in telling the world, we are for shareholders, long terms. So 100 shares are there. In that, let us say, there are some limits as to how much you can buy and all that. Let us say in 100 shares, 10 shares you bought. The demand for 100 shares is, there is a demand for 100 shares and there is supply of 100 shares. But 10 you bought back, how many are there? 90. Demand is for 100. So the price goes up. Demand is more than the supply, so the price has to go up. That is one way how the share price goes up. And the second factor after, why is it 90? You may say, where do the shares go? The shares are extinguished. What is extinguished? There is a paper, there is a share. When the share becomes paper, the share is extinguished. In other words, those 10 shares are cancelled. That money is spent, give it to you, go have a party. What happens with the 10 shares? Extinguished. They are no longer, they are a part of history. So 90 shares supply, 100 is the demand, share price goes up, which means liquidity is less, demand is more, share price goes up. So, I've seen some materials where they say that the 10 shares that the company, remember the company bought, promoter did not buy these shares. Promoter did not buy, promoter did not sell. Why? Promoter sells his own shares. Then what kind of company is that? Promoter should buy, not sell. He buys. So this is buyback, where the company buys. What is bought? Extinguished. The price at which it is bought is higher than the market price. The reason is to help out the shareholders. And the money that you got, not by borrowing, by reserves, and I'll come to Paytm in a bit, by equity capital. Generally, reserves, what are you telling the world? I'm doing so well, I've got so much of money, and I want to be helpful to my shareholders. Here I am getting into the market to help them with 18,000, 10,000. These are grand, sort of interventions. That's okay, buyback. Yeah, creeping acquisition. Acquisition, yeah, okay. Creeping acquisition. When the markets are down, when the markets are really, really down, the promoter is there. Today he holds, let us say, 60. Today he holds 40% of the shares of the company he holds. 40% of the shares of the company he holds. But then you are not the majority shareholder. Somebody can come and, Adani, what it did to the NDTV. So somebody can come, ask the shareholder, sell me your shares at a price much higher than the market price, and that is how he will be the majority shareholder. He'll take over the management. You are scared. So what do? When the markets are in doldrums, with your personal money. You go into the market, buy shares at a cheap price, add them to your stock, and you improve your shareholding in the company. That is called creeping acquisition. This is called buyback. Buyback is by the company. Creeping acquisition is by the promoter. Buyback extinguished. Creeping acquisition added to the promoter's stock. Buyback high price. Creeping acquisition low price. And no impact on the liquidity because the shares of the promoter are also assumed to be available for the public when if he chooses to sell. But here they are burnt, means they are cancelled. Now, I told you by now you know why you do the buyback. SEBI regulates and all. SEBI regulates. By now you know why there is a buyback. Yes? Why do you buy back? I'm a company. I can build roads. I'm buying back. I told you all the reasons why you buy back. Now you come to the Paytm. Paytm. 197 company. Paytm. Yeah. So you see what happened was these companies are a little dicey. It sold its shares 2,150 rupees. Middle classes bought, they thought it will go to 10,000. Middle classes, my heart goes out to them. They bought. So much of hype was built. What were all these guys doing? Oh, this $20 billion valuation. It's okay if among the big fish, if the play is there, it's okay. Middle classes bought. You know to what level the share price fell? About 400 or less. You bought with 2150 and you landed at 400. It crept up okay today. It could be quoting somewhere 900. Even that is 900 or 900 is 1800. That is still about half less. So you are about 65%. You are at not 1/3, okay, 40%. You have to do something, otherwise you will be taken to be a fraud company. Trust is everything. So, okay, they took Paytm is still in losses, thousands of crores of rupees of losses. I told you are sitting on mega cash built up over years through your profits. That is the way to go for a buyback. See, this is the money I'm sitting on. I'm such a blue company. I've got money and I will help my shareholders because they are the core of my family. That is style and substance. But Paytm had to do something for the shareholders, otherwise it can't exist. But Paytm was itself in losses. But then in this new age, digital age, not exactly digital age, but mostly digital age, you lend a lot, you can raise a lot of money by selling shares, even that is money. If you borrow money, the game is up. Sell shares and get the money. That money is also muscle because somebody could buy your shares at a decent price. That means you command the market attention. So Paytm floated shares, picked up money, with that money entered the market to buy back its own shares. Not a gung-ho amount like TCS or L&T, 850 crores. But that's pretty symbolic and the value is relative to the current market price could be okay. But relative to the IPO price, it is a washout amount and quite an ironic price, etc. So that is how Paytm got into the market. And some other companies are also there, fraud companies. You know what they do? They get into the market to buy back so that the share price goes up for a while and for the short-term share price spike, they buy back. And there is more to the story. I don't want to go into that because see, Why should I talk about it? I will talk about only, the relevant material. Why should I go into 100% irrelevant? So, you know why the share buyback takes place? You know why? You know how the company benefits? You know how the shareholders benefit? You know how it can be sort of misused for short-term effect? And in India also, yes, even public sector companies, government is there, PSU is there, Coal India Limited, and Coal India Limited is sitting on more cash than coal. They don't have too much to invest also. There's a lot of money there. Earlier one finance minister said, use it or lose it. Lose it how? Buy back the shares. Why? You give me the dividend. How much will you give me? 2,000 crore, 5,000 crore, 10,000 crore. That's not enough. You're still sitting on cash. Buy back. Government needs money for a lot of work. And it can't see you sitting on money and leave you alone. So, public sector, private. If you are listed, there is this possibility that there could be buyback. But only cash-rich companies, exception being Paytm. Even that is cash-rich, but got the money through sale of shares. Sale of shares, get the money, buy the shares back, burn them. Strange logic, but Paytm. So that is about the share buyback. And SEBI, of course, is the regulator. Let's see if I missed any points. We'll come back to, we'll scan all this a little later, question by question. Here is your future. See, there is a couple, either both or one is already a service officer, and they have a life of their own beyond the government duty. They have to spend time with children. That is everything. Life is about spending time with your children. Government is important, public is important, service is important, but not more important than being with your children and living up to their aspiration, expectation, etc., etc. So 50-50. Women were allowed, you see. 1 year to 18 years, your kids, till their kids, juvenile and all. Lady is allowed, the mother is allowed, she's an officer. 730 days you take, not at one go, but in spells of 10 days, 15, whatever the rules. Why? One is, of course, this maternity. Another is, while you are sitting in the office, your mind is on children. Is she studying? Is she learning? Is she falling short? So, you could take some days off, that's called a spell, and then spend your time with children. Lady, mother, you had to. That's very clear logic. But then the father is equally important. After all, if he is not there with the children, he is missed by the children. They can't say it. It's overshadowed by the mother, but the urge is there. The feeling of, being with the father. So the government finally, from the 29th of July, has understood the logic that father is as much of a parent as the mother. You also get 730 days. In 3 spells in a year, 730 means 2 years, 3 spells. The lady could have 6 spells in a year. You can have 3 spells. So what's the big deal? It's a separate channel of leave. It's not the regular casual leave, medical leave and all that. Separate channel number 1 is not leave in the regular sense. You can encash it. It's not encashable. You paid for it. You're not going to office, but you paid for it. Why? Government wants you to spend your time with the children. And you're not fully paid. First year, year 1, 100% of your salary you're paid. Second year, you're paid 80%. I don't know why the government is cringing on it, just 20%, and you are letting them down, but this is how you are paid. so that your work life balance is there, public private balance is there. And it's but say you are a probationer, you can't enjoy this comes into effect only after you join the service, not during your probation. That is how the all India services. I don't know why they left out the central services. I don't know why this is bad. Treat all civil servants alike because they're all alike. Singling out the all India services for, the sweetheart treatment is not right, not right. All other services have to be treated. I'm sure there'll be a bit of a backlash here. We'll see the fireworks as we go on. This is another topic. Yeah. Now, these are the topics I have. Let's go back to the beginning. Track our graphics, go into the minutiae, and then so multi-state cooperative societies. This is galloping a bit. Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act. Parliament that provides and all. Key issues, everyone begins with, you don't begin, but I'll begin, everyone begins. What's the problem with these bodies? Number one, they are not professional. Number two, there is too much of government control. Number three, their finances are not good. Number four, genuine democratic functioning is not there. These are the standard complaints about the cooperatives, be it a bank or be it a non-financial cooperative. These are the regular shortcomings. What do you address here? This is important. Expect a separate question out of this. 97th Amendment Act. Rajesh Shah verdict, wherein the Gujarat High Court said if you wanted this to prevail, you could have sent the Constitution Amendment Bill to states for ratification like you did 73 and 74 Panchayat and Nagar Palika. You didn't do it, so that part which applies to states is out. But the part that applies to multi-state cooperatives is on. And what exactly is there in the 9B, part 9B? Please get into it. And I think it's a hidden gem here. Election, I told you. Amalgamation, I told you. Worrying aspect. Oh, this one I did not tell you. This one I did not. The only point in the entire write-up today that I missed out, I'm going to see. This is a cooperative society. Profitable. This is a cooperative society, multi-state of course, otherwise the government of India can't do it. It's in losses. This profit-making cooperative society is sitting on 100 rupees reserves. This is in losses, let's say 10. You give 10 here. This is 90 and this is zero loss. But then the profit-making bodies, societies will say, are you punishing me for doing well? You're taking away my money and you're giving, why can't the government give it from its own consolidated fund? Why can't it create a separate corpus in the public account? Why do you want to penalize a profit-making multi-state corporate society and fund the sick one? So there's a moral hazard. I'll be sick because I know I'll be funded. So, this is the problem. I was telling you 2 points which need to be pointed out as lacunae. One is amalgamation. States are seriously worried. And this is a fairly academic point. Maybe it's a serious point also, but not as serious as this. This is very, very serious. Kerala spoke, others also will speak. And Redemption, I have explained, I have explained when you look into the PDF, you will see, I have explained all that I told you, you will see it in print. Redressal, ombudsman, why not? Good, good. This is accountability and this is government control so that the funds are, tackled well, etc. Concurrent. Annual turnover, deposit, whatever, beyond the approved, what do you get? Concurrent audit, which is systematic, regular, then continuous. There is one word here, examination, continuous, concurrent, the government's early. What's the point of seeing a financial irregularity months and years after it occurs? See it as soon as possible so that it could be either prevented or you can, cut the losses or you could even save it from incurring any losses. Concurrent checking out, substantial checking out, not test checking, substantial. Every, bit of data you check so that you are in time and, you could be preventive. Objectives, criticism. Funding criticism is there, amalgamation criticism. Amalgamation is fairly serious. I thought I'll provide the data. It should interest you. Who is going to do, which commercial body will do this? These people are doing it. There is on exports. We have to go into more details, but not for the purposes of the exam. Organic produce, who all these people are bringing in? PACs, FPOs, farmers. And what are they going to do? Institutional support for aggregation, certification, testing, procurement, storage, processing, branding, labeling, packaging, logistics, marketing. All this for organic farming, organic produce. Remember in our agriculture, regenerative agriculture, which is the same thing as natural farming, conventional, natural. Natural means zero budget. Zero budget, natural, same thing. Conventional, ZBNF, which is same thing as NF, regenerative agriculture. I'm going to provide a PDF on all this. The whole world is going gaga over regenerative agriculture. The budget of this year went gaga about natural farming. And we're going to talk about that, time permitting, or PDFs for certain. I'm in the process of preparing. It'll all be in our Telegram channel. It's going to add value to you. Don't miss out. So, Bharatiya, seeds you're going to make. If ITC makes seeds, they're going to drive you below the poverty line. They're going to, rip you off. Cooperative, multi-state cooperative with investment from all these people, established credentials. They're going to invest for seed production. Rest assured, it's going to be, dependable. About the data, you please go through. Standing Committee on Economic Statistics was replaced by the Standing Committee on Statistics. The body. And what's the difference? Broader mandate to review the framework and results of all surveys conducted under the National Statistical Office. All surveys, whatever surveys they conduct. All the surveys are conducted by the National Sample Survey Office. Employment, unemployment, consumption, expenditure, and whatnot. So many surveys. All that, the way you are, selecting the sample, composing the sample, your questions, all that they're going to look, review the framework and the results also. Framework is bad, results are bound to be bad. Pranab Singh, we had I think 1 hour interview with him. What a brilliant it was. official members, all accomplished people. You know what prompted means? This is what prompted. People inside the government, outside the government were criticizing. That is what prompted. Then this previous round of consumption expenditure, 2017-18, discarded data quality. And National Statistical Commission, they'll have the ultimate authority. You know, National Statistical Commission, this is NSO. This is National Statistical Commission. Works in the MOSPI, that's the apex body. And you know this new body, Pranab said recommendations, they'll give it to the commission takes it or leaves it. And I have, you know, the Chintan Shivir also you can mention. I have compiled Chintan Shivir, etc., etc. Inaccurate data. Let's go to agriculture here. Population. You know, we don't have exact data about the population. Women, men, you know, areas. Population isn't just, you know, so much of differentiation is there. All the data we don't have. How many tribal students are studying in universities? Get me the data we don't have. So just to give you an example, the example I came across in the Times of India article today. Outdated. You know, outdated is 201112, the base year for all that matters. IIP. CPI, GDP. Is there anything more important than this? 11, 12. 11, 12. So outdated. Incomplete. You don't even know what is the breakup of the land. You have vague figures. Agricultural production, crop yields. Crop production we may be having. Yields we don't have. We have a general number, but we don't have. Bias, I gave you the example of this, the women. Gender bias. There could be ethnic bias. Definitely ethnic bias. So how do you make sure that this bias, there is no scope for it? Aadhaar is the best. Investment versus consumption. The classical equation, which is a virtual equation, and the stimulus-driven investment being the basis for our growth, and consumption lagging, private sector investment lagging, etc. This could be a classical question. Why is consumption weak and what are its implications? Why and what are its implications are economic growth. So all these are the reasons why when your consumption is weak, what can go wrong? Businesses, individuals, sluggish job growth, uncertain business environment, affecting growth, expansion, investment, lackluster job growth, economic activity, what not. But these are the textbook sort of consequences. We are doing well. We grew 7.2 last year and 9 plus the year before. On the face of it, it looks like slow down. But for the 9 plus, the base was low. 7.2, relatively, the base was high. To that extent, we have not slowed down. This is the last line, the concluding line. Okay, RBI is controlling inflation, raising the rates, but if control of inflation takes such a toll on consumption by raising the rates, you need to rethink and etc. Certificate of deposit we have discussed. Threadbare. I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing this question in the exam. Share buybacks. I don't know if can investors choose not to participate? Of course, you know why? I was telling you about buyback versus dividend. See, so I'm a company, shareholders, I can give you a dividend. I'm making profit, 100 rupees of profit I'm making. In that, maybe 20 rupees I'll distribute to all the shareholders, including myself. I'm the promoter, largest shareholder. You know? But then, above an amount of 5,000, all dividend receipts are taxable at the rate of income tax that applies to you. If you're on the 10%, 10%, 20, 20, 30, 30. Above 5,000, you have to pay. But if I undertake a buyback, the share is 100 in the market, I'm buying it at 110, don't sell. Some people sell if they already held the share for the number of years, 2 years or whatever, for long-term capital gain tax. I already held it for 2 years. I'm selling it to you. I'm making gains, but the tax on that kicks in. If you receive 1 lakh rupees of capital gains, long-term capital gains, then you have to pay on that gain 10%. 1 lakh. A lot of people don't. Gain. Gain is 1 lakh. What for the required number of years for the long-term capital gains tax? Here it kicks in at 5,000 for dividend. After 5,000 you are taxable. Here up to 1 lakh, there is no tax. There is no tax. So on the tax front, helping out the shareholders works better with buyback. Either you sell if you already held it long and keep it till you've held it long. Just to see that the tax outgo is minimized. So the tax-wise, you're helping the shareholder much more through a buyback. This angle I promised you, and I'm telling you. Wait here. Criticism, all that I told you. This is what should interest you the maximum. Over 2 years, that is 730. Dave rules. Yeah. This is a wonderful thing the government did, but they should make it even more wonderful by extending it to all government officers, all government employees. That will be the day. Because the government employees are fairly overburdened. I want them to spend a lot of time with their children. Children are hungry for the parents. And the more you spend time with them, it's a happy birthday for them. Yeah, that's where it rests. I've done my bit. Wish you all the best. Go into the Telegram. We are working like you can't believe so that, we could make sense of this exam for our students. So I wish you all the best. Good night.